Good night, good night. Blessings. Blessings, my people, and welcome back to another episode of the All Over It podcast. Yeah. Like they say, another day, another dollar, another week, another episode. Yeah. Consistency is the mission. Last week, we celebrate a year. Last week was celebration, and we back to execution. We done. But yeah, blessings and love. Appreciate you for joining in. Appreciate you for coming on. Don't know love alone. And yeah, we here with another good one. Today is episode 54. Look what I built. Yeah. So yeah, keeping that momentum. Like I mentioned a few weeks ago, season of execution. And that is it. We in that. So yeah, like I said, today's episode is a little different. I've been showing like real world scenarios and different things like that. Like I said, last week was more celebration because we celebrated a year of the podcast. Big things, big things. Yeah. That one deserve a little applause song set. That one that one deserves some music, some songs. Yeah. Last week was big things popping, little things flopping, like TIC. You know what? Like I say, another week, episode 54, and we back at it. We back into execution. And today, I showing you what I actually built. I've been in full execution mode this week. I don't know if it's like after Carnival, like I check in like, yeah, you know, productivity was on high self this week, self. Like, we're going on cause big up yourself one time, cause yeah man, Miguel one time in the chat. Don't know, bless up yourself. Whoa. Appreciate you for joining. Yeah man. I see something. It's like I said, I've been in full execution mode. Mostly like Carnival was that little free up I needed. And yeah, I do a lot this week. No lie. So I think to myself, I had like another idea for episode today. But I say, man, I execute so much this week. I do so much this week. I should share that, man. I should come on the live and check in. Look, this is what I do. This is what I've been doing. This is what I'm working on. So that's what today is, and love alone. Check, see things that I show interest you, see things that probably you yourself could use. So if any of these things interest you, reach out to me. Let me know. Because all of that is the point, like I showing you what I work on, what I do, what I using for myself, what I do for clients. So if you know this is something that would interest you, let me know. Yeah. So hey, blessings. What going on with the cause OG in the court? Yes, I big up yourself one time, cause. Yeah, Jonathan, TN Jonathan, bless. Appreciate you for joining. Yeah, man. So, yeah, I'm gonna get right into it now. And why is showing this? Sometimes people only see the podcast, but they don't see the behind the scenes. They don't see what I'm doing other than the podcast. And honestly, I'd be doing so much that a lot of times it'll be like, okay, I do the podcast and then I don't really post much else until the next podcast. So yeah, see, let me show the behind the scenes. I building systems, automations, databases, workflows. Yeah, we're doing things. We're trying to make life easier for people. So for sure for me, I try to make life easier for me. And that's why I setting up my systems, setting up automations so things could run smoother and easier, and I would hope the same for you. I would want you to start thinking like that too. Like, why you just do? Whether at work, whatever you just do a lot over and over, how could you ease your load? So I guess before I get into things, I leave you with a thought-provoking question. Like, think for yourself, like, what do I do that if I was to like really put my workflow down on paper, that I could ease things, like automate things that now that would lighten my load. Something to think about. But yeah, like I said, I doing this so people could know, like, okay, yeah, you do the podcast, but you actually doing the walkie talking about self too, It ain't just TV, action, reality. Yeah. So bottom line, if people don't know what you do, they can't hire you. It's just like if you don't have a resume, if you don't bring a resume to the job, you won't get hired. So you gotta let people know what you're doing in order to, you know, make things happen for yourself. It's simple. So yeah, getting right into things. You see this beautiful image. I had to make sure we see that. Man. Hey, yeah, man, it's beautiful. I ain't know where that be, but gotta check now. But very nice. Anyways, diving straight into things. Let me go right here one time. So, for those of you who know me, know that I all about agriculture. All over agriculture. Literally have a page named that. And I have an agriculture business. And I decided, I I need something that I could keep track of things. Rightfully, it started as a CRM, which is a customer relations management platform, meaning like a CRM is basically a database where you have like all your customers. You could keep track of certain information, like maybe orders and different things like that. But yeah, like I said, it started out as a CRM, but it became a full operating system, meaning like brains of the operation. Let me just say like that. So this is it. I created this platform, which I used Lovable. As you could see down on the bottom, it's done by Lovable. But yeah, nice little page. This is my logo here in the top corner. And like I say, run the whole farm from one place: customers, orders, inventory, finances, projects, assets, together at last. Good. Now, I set it up easy, whereas you could either create an email and password to sign up, or you could just sign in with the Google. So I doing this like this specifically so you could see like, how the sign in process and thing is be. So you see it's simple. You just give permission. So because you're signing in with your Google account, simple. You don't have to go do no password, go to your email, verify password. Simple. Look. And now you're inside. So you got a nice dashboard. You got how much revenue you make. So let me say you fulfilled orders, outstanding balance. So let me say if you have orders that not fulfilled that came in, pending orders, customers, so you could keep track of how much customers you have in database. Your recent orders, you could see here. Click view all, and then it'll bring you to see everything. Now, it also has AI insights, so it'll tell you things like, suggestions or alerts, like, okay, this product running low, or maybe even things like, okay, this customer hasn't been contacted in such amount of time, maybe you should reach out to them, things like that. Also has a report section, so you could generate reports based on the information that the data that gets put in. Moving on, they got your customers. Like I say, you could add customers. Now I do this in two ways. I made it that you could add them in manually, or you could click import here on the top right and import an Excel file. So let's say if you already have a customer database on an Excel file, you could just import them and your whole customer database would automatically populate here. But if you don't have that and you want to start adding people, these are fields: the name, business name. Let me say if it's a commercial, like a business person, or if it's a, like an individual. So whether it's an event client, all these things. The phone number, of course, contact information, location, status, whether it's a active customer or it's someone who is, let me say, a lead, meaning like they ain't a customer yet, but they showed interest in your company, so all these things. And then, yeah, you save them and then it'll populate in this list. Then I got products. So let me say, like me, I have my agricultural business. I have different products, whether like the produce, so whether pumpkin, plantain, all these different things, the herbs and different things, or the juices, the coconut water, the poncho swaliga, cream liqueur, all these things is things that I could add here. Similarly, too, if I have a spreadsheet of my products, I could just click import and choose a file and import the lists with the different. So it can detect the columns, the name, the variant, category, unit, the price, the cost, the description, all that. Good. Or like I say, if I want, I could just put it in myself. So let me say if I decide, you know what, I want to add Poncho Swaliga, I could just add it here now. And okay, it's a liqueur. I could put what type of unit it is. So it'll be liters. And then I put how much, the size, the price, all these things. I could even put cost estimate because they have a section that I could put the ingredients. So let me say, like, let me just show you. So I have a product, but then they have like a section for inventory. Whereas when I have like the different ingredients, I could put my recipe here. So let me say if I put my recipe for the Poncho Swaliga and I say, okay, this amount of that, this amount of that. Once I have my inventory and I say, okay, well, I got eggs, I got let me say incense or essence or yeah, those things. You list that and then it'll track when things running low based on how much products being sold and all of that. So yeah, moving on. Of course, your orders. Similarly, you could create orders by just clicking create order. Somebody come in, whether it's a walk in, you could choose your customer. You could choose how the customer order. And yeah, you put the information, what all they want and all those things. You check and then you get your total, then you create the order. Similarly, for this one, I have it set up that I could, let me show you, integrations. So I have it set up that when I ready, I have a Google Sheet that I made for like a Google form for orders. So let me say I'll post flyers and with the flyer, I'll have the link to the Google form to place the order. So like an order sheet. And once people fill that out, I'll integrate it with this platform so that it could automatically pull those different orders from the Google Forms and Google Sheet and pull it into this platform. So then basically, once I do that, orders would start populating by itself. I wouldn't have to go in here and click new order and create order every time. Check. And then those would show here in order intake. So like I say, pending submission, those are pending orders that come in from the Google Form. It would show up here and I could go in and confirm and whatnot. Then, like I mentioned, the inventory section. Inventory section is like products and different things like that, you know, like the ingredients you're using for your products, recipes, of course, goes without saying. If you got certain products that you're making using different ingredients, you can put your recipe in. And then from there, that allows you to keep track of your usage or your ingredients, let me say. Now here you got projects. So projects is like, let me say you want to build a chicken coop, or like for me, I build up my coconut stand, or right now I got some work I gotta do in the garden, you know, to expand and develop things a little more. I could put a project in here and say, okay, hydroponic system. So you say I put hydroponic system and I give a description, what it's about, and then I come down, I put the status, whether I'm planning it, whether it's active, whether it's completed, on hold, cancel, all that good stuff. I could put a budget, meaning how much is the maximum I want to spend on this project. And then I could put a duration, a start date, a time date. And we say afterwards, once I complete it, I could put the actual costs and little notes and whatnot. And then, yeah, tasks. So how it's set up, I could give my team access to this platform. So now once I do that, I could create tasks and assign it to different people. They could see the tasks from in this section. Now, asset section, I say, you know what, let me do this as, let me say in a business, you want to evaluate your business. So when you buy equipment, maybe you buy a vehicle for the business, or you buy new equipment and it, you know, add to your asset list. I say, let me have a section here where I could just put assets, even like it could help keep track of things. So let me say if you buy, like I say, a vehicle, you could put in, you know, of course, the date you buy it, and you could put like a service duration. So then, like you see, it say your service due in 7 days, so it'll show up there, and different things like that. You know, so you could keep track of your assets and, you know, whatever it is, whether it's tools you buy, anything that you buy that the business owns. Supplies, like I say, supplies is what the ingredients that you use to put into your products, not the inventory. Inventory is where you got on hand. So let me say like the produce and all those different things. Suppliers, you could put the people that you just work with, you know, the people that you just get your products from or your ingredients from. And then purchases, so let me say if you go to your supplier, you buy maybe 100 kilos of plantain, you could record that purchase here and it would register, you know, how much you spent, if you got money owed to the supplier, meaning if you take it on consignment and all of that. Then you get on to the financial section, you know, so financial overview, as you're taking orders and you fulfill your orders, you get revenue in. So it'll show you here total income. It also has a total expenses section. So as you spend money on, like I was just showing you, supplies and inventory, they're gonna show like, okay, money was spent as opposed to money coming in. And then you'll see how much cash you got on hand. Even got a section for loans. If you have a loan, you could add that in as well. Which, since I say that, okay, of course you could see the other sections, but you got a section for loans. Whereas if you got a loan, you could add it. So let me say you get a loan from, and you got money out too. So let me say you lend somebody money, you got a section for that as well too. But so let me say you borrow money from credits, you could put in your credits loan information here, and so the amount that you loan, the interest rate, the start date, when it due. So I guess whether it's 5 years, whatever, and any notes you want to add. Then you can put that information. So then that would show up when you go back on the financial overview section. The amount you owe would show up here. Check. And yeah, like of course, finances is, it goes without saying. If you got account, add account. So whatever it is, whether it's your bank account or if you want to add some way that money coming in to your business, you can add that. And then here you could see a transaction. So as money spend, as money come in, that would show here and on your financial overview page, of course. And then, like I say, you got the section with teams. So like we see, you have the members. You could invite people. So literally you could send an email to your team members and, invite them to join this platform. Now, here, because I am a viewer, I can't make no changes here. But let me say they have the roles, so it tells you, it gives you a breakdown of the different roles they have. So you got an owner who have full control. You could do anything. The first sign up automatically becomes the owner. Then you got your manager who could create, edit, and delete records across all modules. You have your staff, so your daily operations, create and edit records but cannot delete. And then the viewer, so it's read only access. So somebody just on the outside. So let me say if you want to just give people a little insight, let me say maybe you got an investor, you want to show them like, okay, look, my business doing good now. Like we got money in the bank, we got orders, we got a customer database. You could just give them viewer access that they could come in and see, wow, okay, they ain't doing bad for real, man. They got $1 million. Wow, okay. And you could do things. So yeah, that's about it on this now. Like I say, integrations, you could add the Google Sheets and those things and import and all those good stuff. And as things populate, like I say, gonna show up here on your dashboard. On the dashboard, you could do a lot too. You could add new customer, you could see new orders, or add new orders. And like I say, you get AI insights. So it tell you, it give you little insights. So it tell you, add your first product to start taking orders. The customer book is empty, add a customer to begin. So once you do those things, then it probably gonna give you other suggestions. And as you go along, see things populate there differently. Check. And that's that on that. Now, like I say, I build that for myself and mainly for my agriculture business. But if you really check it out, that there is a transferable platform. So meaning I really check in like if you got your business and you checking by, I could do it a platform like that. I build this in a way that I could share it, meaning I could sell this platform to other people and we say set them up with their own. So it ain't gonna be Oliki Farms OS, they're gonna be whatever their business is. And at the end of the day, remember business is kind of transferable because all them going to have people taking orders, whether it's service might be a little different. You're gonna have proposal and different things, but generally all businesses, you're gonna have a product, you're gonna have orders, you're gonna have finances you want to track, you're gonna have different things like that, your inventory and all those things. So as I see it, this is a comprehensive business operation platform. Whereas, yes, after I created, tailor it to my business. I even, matter of fact, if you check it out, it actually even got the colors is my brand colors. And like I say, this logo at the top is my business logo. So I tailor this to my business. But what I'm saying is, if somebody checking they want this operating system for themselves, I could sell it to you. I could say, okay, no problem. We could build this and make it look like your company, give it your brand colors, and down the road from there, you add your members, your team, and whatnot, and you go to go. So moving on. Like I say, everybody know me, know I got agriculture business. I like agriculture, so farm tracker, of course. Simple, but basically the idea behind the farm tracker is, yes, I check in, I look into buy chickens, which I did. I got 100 chicks I purchased, 100 layer hens I purchased, so more eggs coming soon. And I've been saying I'm going to buy some goats and get some different livestock going. Also, I check in like I have different plants around the place like soursop and coconut and dragon fruit and all kind of different things. Certain of them have age, certain of them young. I recently planted them, so like I check in. It would be good to have an app that I could track my plants, track my livestock, keep health logs. Like let me say like how I talk about a goat. If I get offspring, or if they breed in, I could track all of that too. So like bottom line, track the data so I can make data driven decision. Let me say I get my goat and then she get pregnant, she drop a kid, two kids 3 months later. I could track that. I could track, okay, how old my goat is, when last she get necessary medicine and medication, all these different things, or even if something happened, let me say if I sell the goat or maybe if I butcher the goat, all these things I could track in the app. Check better decision making, management just on a whole, so bottom line, even with the operating system I just showed, like modern agriculture is becoming data driven. Like data is powerful, and when you have data, you could make smart choices. You check. People don't see that. People just like to freewheel and do things haphazardly. But yeah. So, like I say, simple farm tracker. Like I say, to track your livestock and your crops. You got your dashboard. They tell you the date. You see your animals, plants, income, expenses. So I do it like that. Finances is always important. So I'll always have a section for finances. So let me say like if you spend money to buy the animal, let me say maybe you spend a couple $100 to buy a goat, it'll show up on expenses. But then let me say you sell eggs, or maybe like I say, you sell the goat, or somebody checking they like a goat, they want to buy a kid or whatever, that's income, or maybe like I say, you butcher the goat, you sell the meat, you could track, okay, you get this amount of meat, you sell it at this price, and you make this amount of income. So all that gonna show on your dashboard. And remember, keep in mind everything I always make sure add a AI section, like a AI insights, and like AI AI layer, whereas AI could give some intuition and suggestions, So you got your alerts, upcoming alerts, and your recent activity. And of course, like I say, AI is going to, they even have a section for AI. So literally, see, you could come here, you could ask your AI bot a question. You could say, okay, what animals need attention this week? Which plants are ready to harvest soon? Any health follow-ups overdue or need to be addressed? And you could just click on that. You can send the question. The AI going to go through your data and okay, well, this animal, this goat, these layers, this pig, whatever to be, need your attention. So yeah, like I say, you come to your animals page, the tab for animals, for add your animals, click add. Okay, it's a goat. You want to give it a name. You could put the breed, the day you get it, the cost you pay, the sex, whether male or female, the status, whether she pregnant, whether she sold, whether she deceased, whether she actively there with you still. Check, and just say that you add your animal. Now your plants, similar situation, you go to your plant section. Go back out, buddy. Thank you. You add, same thing. You choose what it is, whether it's a fruit tree, leafy green, root crop, herb, whatever, other. And you choose what it is, whether it's sour sap. I trackpad ever do that? Like just start tripping, glitching on you. Anyway, yeah, so you could put what it is, whether it's a sour sap, the day was planted, quantity, like how much of them, the location, whether it's like in the north field, whether it's around your house, close to the porch, the stage it in. Tripping. Yeah, the stage it in, fruiting, vegetative, flowering, harvest ready, dormant, and then yeah, all that good stuff. And then you see what it is. And then yeah, like I say, you got health section, so you could add your health logs. So let me say if you're done putting your animal, you could go to the log section and you could put in the information. So let me say you put the name of the animal and vaccination, you put your date, the information, the next action date. So then that would show up, let me say, as a alert, like, okay, this animal need another vaccination 6 months from now, let me say. And yeah, go to go. And then yeah, like I say, finances and then alerts. But like I say, the alerts show up on the home page. And then yeah, that's that and that. Check. So yeah, that's my farm tracker, livestock and crops tracker, however you want to call it. With this, like I say, I actually plan to add a one or two little to it, like whereas let me say if your plant got like a disease or so, you could like add an image of the disease and then let me say if it come back on another one, you could kind of refer to it, So data is always powerful. And yeah, just some little additions to it. So that being said, that was my farm tracker app. Like I tell you, more to come now. More to come. I do a lot of work this week now. I tell you, it's like I went off. I went just pumping things out like crazy, 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 crazy. You check? But this one really, okay, no. So yeah, I create a loan tracker. Say credits loan tracker was just a loan tracker, really and truly. Make every euro of your loan count. Log expenses as you go, record payments, and stay on top of your use of funds budget with real-time alerts when a category is approaching its limit. So that is your, hang on, I didn't really want to sign in. I was hoping to just, okay. Cool. Hey. Let me see what. So now we create our account. Rightfully, it had to give me the Google option too, but technology to do it once sometimes. So making sure it's working. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. Let me do that quick and in a hurry. So basically what I do, I sign up for the site. So let me say if you decide by I need a loan tracker and you reach out to Oliver and you check in by let me get a service from you. I got a loan there. I want to track my expenses and thing. This is what you ain't go through. So I guess you get a first-hand experience one time or what you'll see. So like I say, back to it. Make every euro count. This is what you'll see. You create your account. Once you create your account on the right side, you verify your account in your email, and then you could come here and sign in. Once you sign in, this will be your first screen. It'll ask you to set up the loan, meaning you put the total amount, your currency, and the start date for the loan. So if it's 25,000, you put 25,000. You put dollars or euros, whatever it is. And then let me say the start date is today. You put Monday the 11th. You press save. And as you see, loan amount come up here. The total come up here as 25,000. Funds remaining come up here as 25,000. Balance due come up as 25,000. Good. Why? Because that's the total. You don't spend no money yet, so you still owe them the whole thing. You don't pay them no money back yet. So as you start to spend the money, you come right here in your expenses tab, and you could add your expenses. So the date where you do your transactions, your expenses, the amount it was, what category you want to put it under. So rightfully, first you're supposed to go to budget. So you could add categories for your own self, or let me say like through credits, they just have like a use of funds plan document that you just have to put together. So rightfully, I give an option so you could just import that Excel sheet as well. So then the categories come and you just go through them, make sure they're good, and then you could continue. So you move back to expenses, you could choose a category here, add a category, a budget category first, you see, telling you that. And then, like I say, you put how much you spend, where it was for. If you want to put a reference or a note, you could add it there, and then you add the expense. All the expenses going to show up here on the bottom. However, also it will show up, let me say the most recent expenses will show up on your dashboard. You see transactions also going to show up here, both expenses and repayment. So once you start repaying as well, it can also show up on your dashboard. Now, once you start repaying the funds, you come to this repayment tab. So let me say when you pay your monthly loan repayment amount, so whether you got to pay back 500, 300, 1,000, whatever it is, you could record that here. Check. So let me say the end of the month you pay 1,000, you could come here, put 1,000 in the amount. You could put whether it's towards the principal or the interest only, and then you could put your notes. So if you do a bank transfer, if you want to put your reference to the bank transfer, you could put that. You could put the installment number, whatever information you want to put there, you could record that in your notes. And all your repayment history will show up here under repayment history, all your records, just like how all your transactions going to show up in the, all your expenses going to show up in your expenses tab. And that's it. Honestly, once you start using the money on the dashboard here, you know, see the total spent start to change. Similarly, as you start to pay, you're going to see the total repaid start to change. Similarly, these other two parameters for balance owed and funds remaining also going to change. You know? So all these things, you know, you got the necessary formulas and all the things to make it, you know, run smooth and everything. So I kind of want to show you this in use, to be honest. I could do it like that because bam, I got it there already. And yeah, like I say, I've been using it. And you could see I got my categories here, and it telling you how your budget looking, how the money spending, how the money running. You see total spend, so the funds remaining going down. I haven't paid anything back, so 0 for total repaid. So balance owed is still the full amount. And yeah, like I said, I got categories and then the recent transactions, the amounts, and all that good stuff. Additionally, you're going expenses. Like I say, you come here, you can add the expenses, but all the expenses here listed as well, every single thing you do, and the total at the bottom. Repayments, once you start repayment, they're going to be here. And then, like I say, oh, what I meant to do. Like I say, for the budget section, all of these get added from me adding a document. I did not put these in manually one by one using this add category section. I went ahead and just click import from Excel, and I had my use of funds document that I just imported here. So all my categories with the budget amounts just populate. I did put it in. Check. Good. Good. Once you check and you understand and you feel where it's coming from and you receive that information, that's all that matters. So, bottom line, that's my loan tracker. That here is real life need. A lot of people let us apply for loan. Maybe it might be small amount, maybe 6,000, 5,000, but you receive funds and you need accountability, you need structure, you know. A lot of people get money, but they don't track where it goes. They just freewheel and do things haphazard and end up running into problems, you know. But once you do things structured and organized, you know, things work out way better for you, you know. Now, yeah, bottom line, especially for loans and things, if you can't track it, you can't manage it. You know, and you gotta manage your loans. So yeah, moving on. I tell you, I do a lot of work, do a lot of things this week. So this is a next one, a whole next thing. This year now is a simple financial tracker app. Simple, simple. So like it say, track income, expenses, and budget across USD and XCG. So for those people in St. Martin, I do it in dollars and guilders. But idea behind this is it can be expanded to add euro, any currency you want. You could add in, just put a what I did, I put the exchange rate because at least scale laws don't change. But you know, with things like euro does fluctuate and those things. But that's light. All that could be done. Anyways, a simple financial tracking app. Whereas you can import statements, so let me say bank statements, you could import them. You could scan your receipts. So let me say if you put in a transaction and you want to scan the receipt for it, you could scan the receipt and save the receipt with the transaction, and you could get clear monthly insights. So like I tell you, AI in everything. I'm making sure AI helping us and guiding us and giving us insights and suggestions to make smart choices. Make smart choices like Quinn say. Good. All in one place. So let me say you get this platform from me, you want to start, you click start tracking for free. You continue with Google if you don't want to create an email and password. And you simply just give permission. And just say that you're in. Like I say, you got your dashboard, you could see your income, how much money come in, your expenses, how much money gone out, your net balance, so meaning how much you got still. Good. You got a budget usage, so you could create categories or budgets that you want for the month, and you could give them budgeted amounts as like a maximum you want to spend for the month. You know, so all of that could be done in your categories and budgets tab. Also, your recent transactions will show here on the right side. So everything, once a transaction is done, the most recent ones show up here on your dashboard as well. And you could navigate from the top here to like the last month, you know, change months and so on. Now, if you want, you could just add transactions from here on the dashboard by clicking trans plus new, the green button, and choose whether it's an income or an expense, put the amount, fill out the information, you know, so the amount, the currency, what category it fall under, whether it's food and dining, maybe you went out and eat a food and you're checking and want to register. The date, so the date, whether it's today, whether you're checking by, you forget to register some transactions you do yesterday, all of that you could do. The type, whether it's cash or bank transfer, you know, like you swipe the card or if it's a cash payment, and then you could give a little description. So let me say you went French Quarter, or you went Skipjack, or you went Chesterfield, and you eat lobster, whatever it is you want to put in your description. Similarly, like I say, income, you could check in like, okay, I get paid some money today. You could put the amount, the currency, the source. So whether it's freelance, whether it's a salary you get, maybe you on pension, so you want to put pension, you could change all of that. And all of that can be done under categories. So when you click categories, you have your different expense categories. Like I say, you could adjust your monthly budget. So if you want to say, man, my rent ain't 1,200, my rent is 600, you could make that adjustment and save it. If you check in by either spend more than 400 a month on food and dining, you could increase that. Or maybe you want to say you spend more on groceries, you could increase that. And you make it changes, you save it changes. Or also, if you check in like you don't need no business expense category, you don't got no business, you could delete it. Just click delete, they can ask you if you sure, click delete and that gone. And then similarly for your income sources, like I say, we got these three as like default. But if you want, you could delete that. You're checking you don't freelance, you don't have no other income, you could delete those. You're checking, yeah, you're no freelancer, so you want to delete freelance. But similarly, you could come here at the top and add a new category for both expenses and income. So maybe you're checking, you know, why you got like I said, pension. You reach to pension age and you got a pension, you could add that as a category and actually even put a color to highlight for it. Then you click create and it actually, you see it come here, income sources, pension, salary, other income, and you could adjust. You could adjust all of these if you want. If you're checking you don't spend no money on entertainment, you don't want that there, you could delete it. You know, if you check in, you know what, I just spend money every month on my phone bill, you could put that, you know, so you could fix the categories how you want. Similarly, I put an import data section. So like I say, if you want to import like your bank statements and just make it easy for yourself to, like you don't gotta go and say, okay, you gotta import that one by one yourself. You could just import it. Similarly, if you got image, let me say like a document you want to scan and add in, you could do that by image. Upload screenshot of photos, works with bank app screenshots, receipts, or transfer confirmations. Of course, you got the transactions tab. This is like your main hub, whereas everything you see, whether it's income, whether it's expenses, you could filter it by categories. You could search through the description, you could search through to see specific information. And once you start populating it, you know, you might say, man, I gotta send this to my accountant. You could export a report. See, accountant ready exports in Excel or CSV. So you could choose what duration, let me say, if you want to do for the full year, or if he asks you for your transactions for a specific month, you could choose, okay, from January 1st to today, May 11th. And you could choose whether you want only your expenses, only your income, or all transactions. And then you could export and you get a nice report that you could send to your accountant. Check. And then, like I say, AI insight. So as things start to populate, you could get AI to help you tell you, man, okay, maybe you could budget a little less for food and dining this month, or you know, whatever insight it decide to give you to help you make smarter choices. You know, so yeah, that's that. Like I say, I would say simple financial tracker app, whereas Yes, they have AI insights. It allows you to export and thing, but the idea is it's simple. It just matter of okay, you get some money, you put it in as an income, you spend some money, you put it in as an expense, and you get to track your money over time, over, as months go by, you could see, okay, by, what, around this time of the year, I'd have spent a lot of money on food, by what I could do to save some money around that time. It's just data, tracking your data to make smart choices, So, like I say, tracking your expenses, you could create budgets and categories, you could create reports and exporting data. And bottom line, why I say this is simple is because it started for me as a three-in-one app, whereas it was a financial tracker slash task manager slash journaling platforms, like a three-in-one. But then I check in, I had to simplify it. The first version was a little too complicated, so I very pleased with this one. It's simple, like I said, it's straightforward, it's specifically for financial tracking, and using that could help you make smarter choices. Bottom line, simple scales way better than complicated. And that last one I had was kind of complicated. So yeah. Moving on. The next thing I want to show you is a trading bot I created. So for those who know me, I into investing and the financial markets. I love the charts. I love the markets. Let me just say that. And bottom line, I just do my investing. I study investing. I have my dividend paying investing portfolio that dividends growing. But I also like trading. Like I say, trading is different. I just try to explain and express that to people. But yeah, trading. I like trading. I like it a lot, But with my busy schedule, I doesn't get the time to trade how I want to. And then like I just still keep track of the markets now. But then what happened to me, maybe I might check the market and then I see a setup coming, but then because I'm busy with other things, I miss it. Maybe like the following day or 2 days after it actually follow through. But because I'm busy doing other things, maybe that day I didn't check the market and it ended up passing. So truthfully, I could just say, what, let me be disciplined and consistent and every day find a time to check the market, see what's going on, and if I see anything looking good, execute a trade. Sure. I could have do that. But I say, what? It would be nice for me to have an automated trading bot. Other people all over the world. It's 2026. Things advancing so much. Like even the big dogs, them up in Wall Street, got trading bots trading for them 24/7 all when they sleeping, money making. You check. So I check in my look. I have the resources and the tools I need to make my own trading bot. Why don't I? So I did just that. You check. Basically, what I'll show you here is the workflow. So what you have here is how it working. So I went into Clad and I had it designed, let me say the workflow, the flow chart of what this trading bot would look like. So as you can see, The idea is it's an automated execution bot that has back testing. It has trailing stop loss. It uses a few indicators to make smart choices, and it have a manual override, meaning the user, I could always go in and stop it. You check? Yeah, she autonomous. Yes, she automated, but I have final say. Once that running, I am God for that. You check? Good. So one thing I could say too, the system to help remove emotions, so trading is a very emotional and emotion based situation. And if you could trade off of strategy alone, you'll be the best trader. But even the best trader get emotional and make the wrong decision. So, like I said, this is the workflow, the full architectural plan of how it's built out. So the idea is you're going to check the price feed, so meaning you're going to check price action, economic calendar. So let me say when you got news and things like that coming out that could affect the price, and then it pulling information from multiple sources. So not just like the stock market alone, but from crypto, from Forex, from futures, from different platforms to gather like a nice, good general understanding of what's going on. Now, from there, it goes into a Python signal engine, which checks the price action, uses the indicators and the multi-time frame analysis. So multi-TF analysis is time frame. So from 1 minute to daily alignment. And then depending on the analysis that it go through between these different sources, whether the indicators, like I say, and the price action and the multi-time frame analysis, it sends like a signal or a scorer. It basically does send back and say by okay, this trade makes sense. If you see any good trades that look executable and them type thing, so accuracy filter, a confluence score, meaning like it filter all the information you get and it checking like okay, you see anything that makes sense, you see anything that we could actually execute on, a trade that look doable, that look promising based on the information that was gathered. Now, if it does find something that look good, then it'll move on to the risk management section, which is lot size calculator, stop loss and take profit engine, and the drawdown guard. Good. So the drawdown guard mainly for, let me say, I give it parameters for, let me say, people using prop firms as well, because I know I use FTMO and they have certain rules like daily loss limit and rules like that. So the drawdown guard would cover all of those things. Or if you want to put your own criteria with that as concerned, you could add that. But like I say, general lot size calculator. So whether it's fixed lot or fixed amount in dollar amount, and then it generates a stop loss and you take profit, of course, based on your lot size and where you're going to position yourself. And then like I say, just do the risk management, basically creating your trade. That's what you're doing there really. And then it does send the signal through JSON to what they call MQL5, which is MT5 is the trading platform. So that's where to execute your trades. So basically, long story short, after the risk management layer, it moves on to the moving from Python to MT5. So it do the risk management and all of that in Python. Now it got to send the information over to MT5 so it could actually do the trade for you. So once it send it over to MT5, the execution layer, order execution, it do the trade management, like I say, whether it's trailing stop loss and whatnot. So now here is when the order actually executed and running. So when it execute, meaning when it actually gone in, or when it pending. If it do a partial close, meaning because I give it parameters that, let me say, if it break even, it'll do a trailing stop loss, it'll take profit, so partially close, so that at least your close with break even, and then it'll take it from there. So based on the parameters I give it, that's why it have this section like this, telling you trade management is like this, and the execution will go like that, the broker adapter. So like I tell you, because I use either IC Markets or FTMO as my broker, I have the rules for day here, and all of that going to be there. So now once the trade is executed, you get your dashboard that telling you your trading history, so the logs, how it went, whether it was positive, whether it was bad, and then you could do back testing on the different trades and back testing on the bot itself to make it, a little more refined. So like I say, layer 1, market data get pulled. Layer 2, Python signal engine is the brain that has actually decided, okay, was a smart trade to put in. Layer 3 is the risk management. So it actually give you an amount to it. So whether it's, like I say, fixed dollar amount, and then it start to tell you, okay, this going to be a stop loss, and okay, you could do, whatever logic you can use to run your trade. Then you got a bridge, like I say, connecting from Python to MT5. And then on MT5 is where it's actually going to do the trade. And then lastly, you got your dashboard that you could see everything. So all your history, your login, any back testing, any issues, all these different things. So, like I say, a full trading bot. With it, I ain't even really need to give it no information. I need to do nothing. Like it doing it itself. Literally. You see, I ain't even need to go and say, hey, I want to trade crypto, or I want to trade Bitcoin, I want to trade gold. It doing it analysis throughout the market and seeing what is a sensible trade and taking it from there sensibly. So I set it up already. I start do some testing, but I ain't do no order execution yet. But trust me, I'm gonna keep eye posted. But yeah, bottom line, I create a full automated trading bot. Check. So, like I say, with that, me or anybody that interested in trading, checking, they rather just, instead of trying to learn trading themselves, they rather have an automated trading bot. I create one. If you're interested, reach out, contact me. Check. So moving on. Tell her I do a lot of work. I've been walking this week by telling you. So now, similarly to that one, I create an automation. This one here is an automation. So I'll show you the automation self, but this one here is more for this podcast. So I sat down and did some process mapping. So I outlined, I write down on paper my whole process, so my workflow for creating this podcast. So every week, from me coming up with an idea, brainstorming, creating my promotion, creating the flow, everything. The thumbnail, how I does schedule, everything. So like I said, I created a full comprehensive workflow from start to finish of everything I just do, from idea to being here talking to all, and even after post-production. Check. So I put that in here in Claude, and Claude helped me create some automations based on my workflow. Basically what I do, like I tell you, sit down and think on what you just do, whether it's in the job or in your personal life, and outline your whole process. So step one, I just do this. Step two, I just do that. So think on it like your recipe to create what you just create. And like I say, that's what I do here. I create my full recipe of, okay, this is what I just do step by step to get this podcast on for all you. And I had it take my workflow and show me where I could automate certain aspects of it. So like things that I doing over and over all the time. So redundant things that tedious. So taking a lot of time out of my day, automate. So for instance, when I sit down to send out the podcast promotion, like on WhatsApp or on LinkedIn and all these things, that'll take some time. You check? Even just the process of me scheduling the podcast, it takes some time. So, like I said, by me creating my workflow, a full comprehensive workflow of me you doing the podcast, I was able to take it, slap it into this Claude AI, and it was able to give me some workflow automation ideas. Mainly what we're going to talk about here, two specifically. One for me, scheduling the actual live on StreamYard. So as you know, StreamYard is a platform that is used, and I just have to schedule the live on StreamYard in order to have it here for me to come on and go live and all them things. Check. So I just have to have the thumbnail and so the picture, the flyer, and the text. So the description, the words about what the episode is. So based on my workflow that I share with this Claude AI, it give me this workflow. It tell me, okay, we could do a workflow or automation to schedule to StreamYard. So like you see, it starts with a webhook trigger, and it takes the promo from ChatGPT, the title. It moves to Claude AI node, which takes the title and the description as a copy. Then that node is connected to the StreamYard API, which is basically an integration to StreamYard through an access key. And there, the automation, or let's say the AI, creates and schedules the live stream. Now, part of my process is after scheduling it, I just go retrieve the streaming links for both Facebook and YouTube after I done schedule it, and then update the promotion with the links, and that's why I share on WhatsApp, the one with the links in it already. So I share that on WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Facebook, different platforms. So this AI, this workflow, also doing all of that. After it schedule it pulling the links from the stream. So it pulling the stream links and then updating the promo for me. And then it's going to send me a message on WhatsApp, leaving me know, hey, your updated promo with the links is ready. So now I could go and distribute it on my broadcast list if I want from there and so on. Just saying, I could always add that it broadcast it and I just add the numbers and whatnot. But for now, I say, no, this is the check. This is the workflow. We gotta follow that. It also have a node that sends me a checklist reminder on WhatsApp. So shortly before the scheduled live, you're going to send me a reminder like, hey, don't forget, you got to check your camera, do your, check your setup, bottom line. So that is a workflow to ease my load on sending out things for the podcast. Now, this is it. StreamYard scheduling. So now I on N8N. N8N is the automation platform. I mentioned this on this podcast before. I use N8N and I created this automation workflow in N8N. And this is what it looks like. So like I say, let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see everything. I know it's a lot to see, but I can walk you through it. Like I say, it starts with the webhook. So it come in with the information from the chat GPT or the promo template. So I gave it a template for the podcast promo, and once the information come in, it go through the template. Parse and build means it take the information, it take whatever necessary information it need and build out the promotion, and then now it connect to the StreamYard API here, which is the fourth node here. And that's where it creates the broadcast, so schedules the stream. After doing that, it comes down here and extracts the streaming links. That's what this fifth node here is in the middle. And then from there, it sends it to the chat GPT promo. So like how it had this one here, the second node, the chat GPT format promo template. Similarly, it sends it back to that and injects link into template. And then from there, you parse your final product, meaning you send it out how it's supposed to look in the right format. And like I say, it sends a WhatsApp with the final promo with the links to me. Similarly, like I say, down here on the bottom, these four nodes here that's separate is the reminder for me. So once the live is scheduled, when it's about like I think 2 hours before the schedule link, the scheduled time to start, it's going to send me a checklist and a reminder telling me, look, this is your pre-live checklist. Check it out, go through it, make sure you do everything and everything working. And yeah, that's that for that. That's just the stream, the scheduling. I also do one for clip distribution. So one of my biggest problems is I just have like AI generated clips for these podcasts. I get like shots and clips after I do the live, but I don't really have time to go and post them all the time. So I say, you know what, let me do a clip distribution workflow. Whereas, as you can see, I got a StreamYard webhook. It downloads the clip file, generates a caption. So basically what I'm doing, I'm giving it a link to the StreamYard like clips generator clips. It'll download the clips. The AI does automatically generate a caption with hashtags and so on. And I also make it add the link to the full version. And then it'll split it into 4 branches. So it'll post it on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and LinkedIn. And then after I do all of that, it'll send me a notification, leaving me know that, like on WhatsApp, it'll send me a message, leaving me know that everything was sent. Check. And then, yeah, if I want, I could add additional rules. And then it was telling me that if I want more information about any of these things, I could click on these tiles and it'll add some more context for me. Check. So now let me just show you. Basically, that's a whole nother workflow by itself. Clip distribution. As you can see, I do a blog and use letter generator as well too, but I ain't gonna really touch on that one. But yeah, like I say, similarly, you get a link, it'll download the clip, it'll create a caption, then it'll parse the caption, meaning like parse mean like filter and take out the relevant information that it needs. We just say like that. And then these 4 tiles that vertical to each other is the posting. So post to TikTok, post to Instagram Reels, post to YouTube Shorts, post to LinkedIn. And once you do that, then it merge the results and then it give you a confirmation, like I said. Check. So yeah. We walk in. But I tell you, I work on a lot of things. I do a lot of automations and systems and all these things. I push out work this week. I ain't a flex. That's why I tell her, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Carnival give me a little spunks or what, but bye. Work get pump out like joke by. Telling you. I'm telling you. So yeah, to kind of start to come to a kind of close, bottom line, let me say before I move on to the next last thing, I needed this. I needed that automation, because like I say, the clips in itself, like each episode may be generating at least 20 clips. Like even if you use 5, that's 5 for each episode, that's a lot. And then you gotta go create a caption, pull that video, schedule it if you don't want to publish it one time, so that'll be a check. And then you gotta post it on multiple platforms too. That in itself, like when you trying to post on one platform, that take time, it'll take time to upload the video, and then you gotta do that on like 4 platforms. Time, check. So things like these really alleviating stress and alleviating tedious tasks for sure. So content creation is one thing, but distribution is another beast all by itself. So like I said, doing this really eased load for me. And all I had to do after I create those automations that I show you, so those nodes and those tiles, is just go in and create the connection. So I would say connect the YouTube account, connect your TikTok, connect your Google account, connect your AI account using API keys and those type of things. So yeah, it's just about creating the connections and the integrations and using them to your advantage. That's what I'm doing. I creating the systems, pulling the levers that need to be pulled so that this car could just run down the road straight. You check? Yeah, down the road. Down the road. Check. But yeah, like I said, to kind of close off and give my last two things there quick. I was tasked with creating a web scraper for a client. So for those who not familiar with web scraping is like when you have like a bot just pulling data from the internet. So whatever criteria field you want, so whether maybe you in the agriculture field and you want to know the changes in the market prices, or maybe you checking like, you need data. You need data for whatever. So you're gonna scrape the web, you're gonna pull data from the web from all type of different sources and save it, and then you could use it. So it can filter for what's useful, of course, and then you could use it. So I was tasked with creating a web scraper for a client. The idea was the client needs an automated web scraper that scrapes from various sources and then saves the information. So, parses it, filters it, saves was actually useful, and saves it in a centralized database. And it have the criteria, the variables and information that would be saved. Good. So the fields, name, category, phone number, email, location, web presence, optional metadata. So all of that. Then now once it comes into that database, the user, so the client would then go through, they would be able to approve the different records that get added. And then once they do that, the automation, the AI would then pull the data that was approved and automatically create a blog post from it and post it on the client's website. So bottom line, the AI going to scrape the web, whether Facebook, Google, company websites, whatever, gather information, save it in a database, and then once it gets approved by the user, it then will push that information into a blog post, whereas it already have like a template of how you want the blog to be, structured and layout. So it create a blog post and automatically post it on your Facebook, on your business website, and on your blog page. And then, like I say, similarly, on the client's website, it would also post the approved fields or records. So like I say, this was also built, and I also built that as an automation here in N8N. So let me just say business scraper. So yeah, this one a little more complex, but like I say, it triggers weekly. So this one has a different type of trigger. This one triggers on a time sensitive basis. So weekly, it'll scrape the internet, do an automatic scrape, and it'll filter the information, split the queries, and then place them into like a sensible format. And then once it does that, then it'll push it into the database. Now, like I said previously, with these things, you just have to create the connections, and that's why certain of these blocks still have like a red, like caution sign, I'll call it. And basically, that's only because I still have to go and create those connections so that this could run, so that this could be active. But like I say, bottom line, it scrapes the web, put the data in a nice format that it could put it into the database. Once the info is in the database, then the user approves it. And once the user approves it, it then gets pushed into a blog post generator, and also create a listing on the client's website. So this now is the blog post and so on. So this one now is on a scheduled trigger, different from the time one, although it's showing time. This one now works based on wants to approve records, like once you got approved records, it'll fetch them, so it'll go to the database, get the approved records, filter it, format it in the format for the blog post, and then post it. Once it's posted, it'll come back, say like, okay, if it's okay, if it did get posted without an issue, and then it'll update in the database that it was posted. And then from there, it'll give you a log success. So meaning like it'll have a log saying, okay, these different things were successfully posted for you. Check. So yeah. Yeah. We working. Trust me, I do other things, but I think I'll leave it there for tonight. I do some databases. I do some articles. I work on an article about currency and different things that I will co-authored, co-worked on. I not only contributor, me and my team work on it. But yeah. We've been busy. We've been putting in work. Just know that. Just know I'm gonna start bringing the team on. I gonna get to meet the team. We're gonna do little introductions, and then we're gonna have good discussions here with the team too. Every single one of them. And I saying that so that when they hear all this, they know they can't run from it. Good. But yeah, bottom line, the idea behind this is the client spend a lot of time. You see, look, I just talk about a team member, teammate. Big up yourself one time, Paul. You don't know. Okay, good. Yeah. We showing them. We walk in. Yeah. So, bottom line, the reason why this web scraper automation was put together is because, the client basically overworked, overwhelmed, and basically don't have no time for themselves because they're so busy with the tedious work of going and searching the web to see if any new fields or any new wordy records come about. And then when they do find one, they got to go and upload it to their website and create the blog post themselves. So bottom line, things like these frees up your time. When you sit down and think to yourself, okay, what is my process for doing this? And you could map out your process and say, okay, if I was to do this automation, I'll save so much time. That's what's going on here. That's why it's showing you. So as my frequent viewers know, I've been talking about AI. I've been talking about how automation allows you to basically buy back time. It's like first you would have had to just throw that time in a bucket, throw that time in the trash. But no, you free up that time for yourself that you could use it to do more better things. You could do other things. You could spend time with your family. You could do more high level tasks that are going to actually bring in more money. Like you could do things that make sense, things that actually making dollars. Because if it ain't making sense, it ain't making dollars for sure. Check so, like I tell you, a simple automation like what I just showed you. Web scraper, create a record in a database. Once it's approved, it automatically generates a blog posting and a website posting. You can't tell me you can't see how that could ease up a lot of time for you. Maybe you don't have a website like this, and maybe this ain't your process, but you can't tell me you can't see whereas like automations could ease your load and ease your way down the road. Check bottom line. But yeah, bottom line, automation is not just about saving time, it's about scalability as well. So like I say, me and the team been putting in work. We work on all kind of things. I work on all these things I show you. We work on databases this week. We work on like I even put together a database which is the backbone for uh like a dashboard that we need to track certain information. So yeah, the team working. Big up Paul one time. Yeah, real talk. Big up Calvin one time. Big up Eunice one time. Big up Dahlia one time. Two times. Lily, you don't know. Big up self. Yeah, you don't know. Real talk. Check, we working. We doing things. We working with real deal system, Power BI, Clad. Hey, I ain't gonna like Clad. Who Clad been crazy, man. Like Clad. I've been using ChatGPT all the time. Why? Clad powerful, powerhouse, man. Telling you, man. Real talk. But bottom line, if I really had to like show you the bigger picture here, you know, this is what execution looks like. This is why I always talk about systems. This is why organization matters, because I ain't just talking about AI. I'm talking about implementing systems to help you, implementing systems that could ease the road for you, that could lessen your load, that could free up your time and allow you to do the things that you want to do, not the things that you have to. You check? Maybe you fight down on the job because your boss asking you for all kind of reports and you gotta pull data from here, pull data from there. I gotta call Khan because I know Khan show me a vibes like that. Like on his job every month, he gotta put together a report and he gotta pull data from here, pull data from there, and got you all over the place. And if anything wrong, because you're dealing with money, so if anything wrong is on you. You check? But when you create systems and you verify and make sure the system running how it's supposed to and ain't making no mistakes and everything accurate, you could rest easy. You could sleep and check in by. Look, I know once I open my eyes, that AI gonna have that report for me and it pull the data from the right sources and I know for sure the data right, so I ain't gotta worry. That's love. Yeah, that's love. Check. So yeah, like I said, I walk in, I've been showing you, I've been giving you game, I've been giving you value and spitting game here on this podcast. So Bottom line, the idea is I've been sure about automation. I had an episode where I start with AI from scratch. You check if we never used AI before. I start an episode AI from scratch and I build up to a episode about automation. Then I build up to an episode about optimization. So meaning, okay, maybe you want to set up your automations, but you got to make sure your business operations are optimized, meaning everything running smooth, everything running how it's supposed to. Because if you scale up and things broken, you're gonna just add more bottlenecks and more headache and more issues to your plate. So you gotta make sure deal with the issues first. Deal with the bottlenecks and the setbacks first before you scale up. Just telling you, give you all this. Now today I give you the real. I show you like reality. I show you not just theory, but the practical. You see, the actual systems I build. I ain't just saying, yeah, you need to build systems to track things and things. I showing you I self building systems for myself to track things, for my people to track things. You check. And bottom line, we out here working. We out here grinding. Like I keep telling you, I in my season of execution. This episode with me showing you that. I ain't just talk. I ain't just talk. It's action. Good. You check. Part of why I'm showing this too is because I know these systems could help other people too. You know, whether it's the agriculture business or maybe your business in agriculture, but like I say, that operating system I show is transferable to any industry, you know, wherever it is, whether you got your team that you want to elevate, whether you're an entrepreneur, you just got your operations running and you want to see better. Like sometimes people don't know what's possible until they see it. I could come on here and talk, I kind of talk, say, yeah, you could do this, you could do that. But when people see it, seeing is believing for some people. So all of that is why I do this episode. And as you guys know, I am a certified consultant, certified AI consultant. I am a consultant. So all of that is showing on you. That's why I do these real world scenario episodes to show you my process and procedures or how I approach dealing with clients from getting them in, meeting with them, discovering what their pain points are, and then providing solutions. The whole process. I literally show you the whole process. I had an episode about so I became a consultant, showing you my process from start to finish, nice presentation with it and everything. Good. So all of that, I do all this to show you like, yo, Oliver ain't just talking, Oliver is walking. So if you know you need any of these services, if you know you need consulting services, AI systems built, even down to just designs, Canva designs or flyers or newsletter designs, whatever it is, you could call me. You could call Oliver. Trust me, you're in good hands. Whether it's me alone, whether it's my team, you good. You in good hands. Whether it's complex, whether it's basic, you in good hands. I'm telling you. So if you know any of this resonate with you or you need any of this, call me. I have a link to schedule a call. You check. Or you could always just message me. Leave a message on this on the podcast. Leave a message in the chat if you want. But if you're really serious, reach out to me on social media, whether Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is your best option for sure. I'll tell you that. Business, LinkedIn is your best option. Find the link for the scheduling app as well, everything. But yeah, that's the whole that's it. I'm trying to empower you I trying to give you value, show you the possibilities at your fingertips, but also leave you know, like, look, if you don't want to do it yourself, you could call me. I'll go and do it for you. I in my season of execution, and if you want it executed, check me. Yeah, check we. Yeah, straight up. Yeah, that is it. Self check. And yeah, and that note, yeah, that's all I got for you this week now. So in closing, I appreciate you for joining. I appreciate you for staying on, rocking with me from start to finish, checking what I do, checking at look at what he built. Look at what I built. Look at that. Look what I do. Yo. And I tell you that ain't even everything, you know. That's to show you we've been walking. Yo. I surprised myself and like I had certain deadlines and I way ahead of deadlines. Yeah, straight up. But yeah, that's when you're somebody like me. Bottom line. Check. Anyways, like I say, I appreciate you. This week was productive. This week we did a lot. And I just wanted to share that with you, you know, share the execution that been going on, you know. Like I said, I just a DDI checking man, I have to show my people them like what I've been doing. Like I can't just come on here and talk, yeah, look this, look that. And I ain't sure you like, yo, this what going on. This what your body been working on. You know, like you know me, transparent. I is my fam. We's a community. We's fam here. So I can't keep it from you. I gotta come and let you know, like, yo, this what going on, you know. Yeah, straight up. Check so. This is what is going on. And trust me, more to come because I done checking I got other things in the pipeline on my to-do list that I checking I gotta do. And don't be surprised you get another episode like this. But apart from that, I do have some interviews coming up. God bless. God bless. So just know, value for you. I have good things in store. Good things. Every Monday, 7 p.m. AST, Atlantic Standard Time, -4 GMT. Yeah. Just so you know, the time zone. Yeah. We on 7 p.m. AST, Mondays, every Monday faithfully. Last week, I celebrated a year anniversary of this podcast. So you know, we on it. We consistent. We ain't play no game. We ain't coming out to play. Yeah. We keeping that momentum and we executing. You check so. Bottom line, ideas are good. But implementation changes lives. You could have an idea in your head forever and ever, amen. But unless you execute it, they ain't doing nothing for nobody, not even you. Check straight up. So this is my message to you. Whatever it is you want to do, whatever it is you're doing, that you're checking you could ease the road for you, start executing. Execute with excellence, my people. Check. Love alone. Like I say, thank you for being here for another episode of the All Over It podcast. Episode 54. Look what I built, and trust me, I show you. Yeah. And just know, like I say, we here again next week and every Monday, 7 p.m. straight through. Check me here, where we uncovering it all on the All Over It podcast. So, my people, I hope you have a blessed night ahead. Ironically, now my trackpad behaving. Crazy. And yeah, stay blessed. Have a blessed, productive week ahead. And catch you here again next week. Love alone. You're done, though.